Yo, what up everybody? So, tonight's episode of Game of Thrones, it just wasn't very good at all. One thing that I pride myself on my channel is the ability to remain objective. So if I like something, I'll go ahead and say that and share my opinion. And if I dislike something, I will also share my opinion. I'm never just gung-ho on a series and think everything is perfect all the time. If I think that, feedback needs to be given or I need to be critical of something, I will do so. Tonight's episode of Game of Thrones, personally for me, was the worst episode of Game of Thrones that I've ever watched. Now, obviously, everybody's not going to share the same sentiment as me, and that's perfectly fine. That's entertainment, that's how it is, and I'd love to hear opinions from other people and how you guys felt about the episode, just like how you guys shared your opinions with me 2 weeks ago when I shared my love for the Battle of Winterfell. A lot of you didn't like that, and that's fine. It's entertainment. We're all gonna enjoy different aspects of this show, but I'm gonna go down. I have a list of reasons why this episode was bad. And as I was watching it with my wife, I was just looking at her like, "Yo, this is a really fucking terrible episode." Now, first things first. Let me just say this has nothing to do with the whole Daenerys becoming the Mad Queen thing. I knew that was gonna happen off rip. I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. They're building her up to be the Mad Queen. She's gonna fucking burn down the whole city. If you didn't see that coming, I don't know what to tell you. That was just blatantly obvious. So I'm gonna start off my list with first the unceremonious death of Varys, who is one of the most important characters in the entire series. That was done so disrespectfully. It was just, yo, Varys is snitching on you. Alright, cool, let's roast him. There was just no impact behind that whatsoever. It just felt soulless, right? That's number one. Next thing we're gonna talk about is Tyrion going and freeing Jaime, right? We have the Unsullied guarding Jaime, who is a prisoner who was captured after he smashed Brienne and tried to head off to King's Landing, and he goes and frees Jaime to have Sir Davos smuggle him into King's Landing. And that's it. Nobody questions it. Nobody says in the morning, nobody's like, yo, the prisoner's gone, what happened? Nobody's suspicious of Tyrion. Nothing. That was completely pointless. At that point, they might as well just made it so that Jaime actually rode off and made it to King's Landing. I know that they wanted to have that impactful scene between Tyrion and Jaime, so that's the only reason for it. But, if you had to forego that to make the writing make sense, then do that, because that made no sense whatsoever just for the purpose of that one scene. All right, that's something else that I was just like, all right, what the fuck ever. Next, we have the beginning of the battle, right? Everything was pointless. All this buildup was pointless. Daenerys flies in on her fucking dragon. The scorpions don't mean jack shit. She goes and destroys the entire Iron Fleet. She starts raising hell. She destroys the Golden Company. Like, nothing led up to that. She just straight up flew in and got shit started tearing everything down. It was just like, okay, why the fuck didn't you do that last time when you were on the dragon then instead of flying off? Because if your one dragon took everything out, you could have just done that the last time, but that wasn't the case. So that whole thing was just totally inconsequential, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be I have shit that I wrote down about how the whole battle was totally a waste of time. Cersei had no plan whatsoever. Like, it was just like, what was going on? What was the thought process there? Like, she's been cunning this whole time and she had nothing up her sleeve, like no golden ace, no nothing. Just that's it. Just let Daenerys run wild and burn down all of King's Landing. That's what we get. Then we have the battle between Jaime and Euron, which was totally fucking random, by the way. They just wanted to set that up because they were Cersei's lovers. And the battle was shot poorly. The whole thing was a bunch of quick cuts. I couldn't even really enjoy it. The whole fight was just like, oh, cool. Just quick cuts. That's it. Pure quick cuts. The whole fight. And then Euron's just dead. And Jaime gets stabbed and he's bleeding out and dying. Like, it just was not fun to watch. Now, one thing I'll say, one of my favorite scenes was with the Hound and Arya, when they were getting close to Cersei. The Hound is letting Arya know why she should leave, and the consequences of being on a quest for vengeance. He will end up just like him, and he had already made peace with the fact that he was not coming out alive. He was gonna die when it was all said and done. So I enjoyed that scene. I like that because I've always loved the relationship between the Hound and Arya. So now while we're on the subject of the Hound, let's talk about Clegane Bowl. Another thing that was kind of cool, but I was just like, all right, that's it. I mean, I thought that the Hound went out like a badass, but I felt like that fight could have been more than what it was, because we've seen way better clashes than that and throughout the entirety of Game of Thrones. So that was kind of like a big like meh for me. Now, let's discuss the death of Cersei, right? Because a lot of people were super pissed at the death of the Night King. They were mad how Arya came in like a badass and took out the Night King. This death was 1,000 times worse than the death of the Night King, for those of you who hated the Night King. And you have to admit that. You have to be objective and admit that Cersei being set up as the big bad, you know, complete bitch for the entire show. Everybody hates Cersei's guts. She's done some of the worst things imaginable in the entire series. And they let her go out embraced by Jaime. That was the lamest shit ever. That was a total spit in the face of everybody to not even fulfill the prophecy. The prophecy was not fulfilled. It wasn't even fulfilled in a roundabout way just because he had his hand around her neck. The prophecy said the Valonqar will choke the life from your body. He did not choke her out. Everybody thought, you know, that's what it was building up to. Every single prophecy came through. She had 3 kids. They died. She was queen for a little bit, and then a more beautiful queen came along. That all came true. There was no consistency. The ball was dropped right there. Where was the consistency? You know, this whole episode was just Daenerys fucking flying around on her dragon, burning everything to the ground for an hour and a half. That's literally what the entire episode was, and that's why I'm let down. I knew that was gonna happen, right? I'm not mad about that aspect about Daenerys becoming the Mad Queen. I know a lot of people have their feedback about how her descent into madness happened extremely fast. I can agree with that, but then, you know, I also took it with a grain of salt. These dudes are ready to finish off the series, so things have been happening at a faster pace since, you know, a couple seasons ago. The fast travel started going on, and you know, things were speeding along. So I understand everybody's hatred for why Daenerys became the Mad Queen so quick, and you know, on social media I have friends that didn't even see it coming. I don't know how, but they did not see that coming whatsoever. But again, that was like the least of my worries for the whole episode. It was just those tiny things that could have been done so much better. They could have spent more time on that, and they didn't. And then I feel like it was a lot of wasted buildup over years for it to just end like that. Now, next week's episode, I'm at this point I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, my guess is that, you know, I don't know where Arya's riding off to. Like, she can't be going back to Winterfell, because Winterfell is far as hell. So Sansa's the only one that came out on top. She was at home in Winterfell chilling, not getting roasted to bits. But I don't know if somebody's gonna kill Daenerys and, you know, stop it before it gets any worse. But hey, we gotta see. We just got to see how that goes. And let's just say that it was out of character for a lot of people to just start killing innocents in King's Landing. That was awkward. So Daenerys, you realize your queen's a mad bitch. Like, you're like, oh wow, she really shouldn't. Did she really just do that? All right. And start killing women and children. That was also out of character for a lot of people. But what can you do? We just have to accept what's happening at this point. There's nothing we can do. The only thing we do is be critical and provide our feedback and discuss what's been going on in the series, and hopefully we at least get a satisfying end to the series, because this week was not satisfying at all. And for me, this was literally the only episode in all of Game of Thrones like that let me down, that I was like, wow, that was fucking bad. And you know, the show has had a good track record with me. Like I said, 1 episode out of the 73 episodes that I've seen. So hey, you know, it is what it is, but I'm going to be objective and share my opinion. But I definitely want to hear from all of you guys. How did you guys feel about the episode? How do you feel about the writing, the direction that they went with certain characters. Let's talk about it. Go ahead and share your opinions, whether you liked it or disliked it. I want to hear from everybody because, you know, that's what we're here for. I like to see opposing opinions. So let's talk about it. As always, like and subscribe. Check out the merch store. Link to that is down below in the description. Follow all my socials at your boy Roshi, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And consider becoming a patron if you would. I would appreciate it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you have a great night, and I'll catch you guys next time.